What's up, everyone? Welcome to a kind of new little thing. I guess I just put like the podcasty kind of talking kind of stream thingy into like an actual series. It's just called StealthyWolfXLI Presents. So whether that be kind of news stuff, important stuff, or just talking about what's come up or kind of thing in my videos. So today, or this video, today, this stream, this video, I don't know. You can come along to these streams live and chat and sort of be part of the conversation, or you can obviously put your stuff in the comments if you want, and I will, read through them. Today we're talking about the Xbox Series X and the PS5. I did something like this previously where I talked about it, but basically summing that up was the reason I did it was sort of the main bit about that video was the about sort of the rumours back then of the probably about 4 or 5 months ago at this point, where there was the rumours that the next Xbox is going to be more powerful than the PlayStation 5. Now, based on no specifications at all for either console, that could mean anything. So I basically just, kind of ripped that apart. But this one, we're talking a bit more about it, and I can do a bit more because we kind of know what they look like. We know the names, for definite this time, and diddly diddly dee and some other rumours. So that's what essentially we're talking about. Let's start with the Xbox. First of all, like, okay, I rag on the Xbox One a lot, right? Mainly because I don't like the controller, right? I've said this, right? But I love the Xbox 360 and I love the original Xbox, right? But I don't mean to brag more on the goddamn the goddamn Xbox, but calling it the Xbox Series X is a stupid name. It's a really stupid name. Like, who genuinely thought that, yes, what we're going to call it, the Xbox Series X. Do you know how many parents you're confusing right now when it comes out? It's going to come out, right? And a parent is going to go, oh yeah, I'm looking for the, they're going to go to a store, they're going to go and they're going to be like, oh yeah, I'm looking for the Xbox X, whatever the new one. And then the person will be like, okay, do you know specifically which one they want? Yeah, which one you want? And it's like, I don't know. So it's basically like, what's going to happen is just a lot of parents are going to buy the Xbox One X. And the name sounds more like they are upgrading and doing like a mid-generation console, not an entirely new generation of console. It sounds like the PS4 Pro with the Xbox Series X. I imagine the Xbox Series X being the Xbox One X, but then they basically go, right, the Xbox One X is sort of like the base model now, and then anything that goes above that, or anything more than the Xbox One X, is the, more powerful, whatever. But why? Why the name? Okay, yeah, not, no fucking no guesses for the what could be the next, well, what other people would name the next Xbox, Xbox 2, Xbox Infinite. Hell, why couldn't it have been just named Xbox Scarlet? Like, I know that's like a little code name, and they did it with the Scorpio as well. What was the Xbox One called something? I think the Xbox One X was called the Scorpio, Project Scorpio. But why not just call it the Xbox Scarlet? Start like a new kind of like naming system, because you already kind of jumped the gun with the original Xbox to the Xbox 360. You missed the opportunity to do what PlayStation did. Because PlayStation obviously just went, well, we'll just keep it PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll just go like that forever. And that makes sense. you know, like the Xbox 360, and then what the Xbox One would have been called the Xbox 720, is what some people would have said. Then would the next one be the Xbox 1440? No, it would have been, from my point of view, it would have been called the Xbox 1080. But like doing that, at least I mean, it'd probably get ridiculous after a while, yeah. But if you like, because I get the name Xbox One. It's all in one kind of thing, because that's how they market it, and that's how they lost a lot of players, a lot of gamers buying the console. Obviously, you know, like you know, people that bought the Xbox One did it for multiple reasons. You know, they already have an Xbox 360, so they bought an Xbox One. That makes sense. And sort of like that kind of thing. And some people want to keep like their profiles and stuff. They didn't want to have to make like a completely new profile on the PlayStation or whatever. Yeah, it's just like calling it the Xbox One. Okay, what do we come up with next? Well, then you just do numbers. Or alphabetical number. You know what I mean? Like Xbox One is not Xbox and the number one. It's Xbox ONE. But again, they could have started doing, I don't know, colours. Like Xbox Scarlet. But like, yeah, kind of like fancy like names for colours rather than sort of like Xbox Red, Xbox Blue. Or something like that. I don't know. I would have been fine with them calling it the Xbox 2. Or the Xbox Scarlet. Or the Xbox Scorpio. You know, something like that. Like, something that sounds cool. Because when was the last time we've had a cool sounding console? Because to be honest, the PlayStation sounds kind of cool. I mean, it sucks now. Because it's the number. Well, like, the PlayStation, the first one, sounded cool. But then when it's PS2, PS3, PS4, you know, now it's the PS1, it kind of sucks. But you tell me right now, right? If they started naming the Xboxes after like animals, would you not go, that's a cool console? You know? The Xbox Cobra. Would you not think that's cool? Maybe I'm thinking it too much in like a teenager kind of thing, but like, just it's a stupid name. So I'll be referring it to the Xbox 2 for the entire time because I don't care. What I was going to say about the size. A lot of people have sort of seen the size sort of, and it's being compared to the Xbox to the controller. I assume it's still the Xbox One controller, which is weird because you couldn't connect. Yeah, that's really weird. You can't get an original Xbox controller connected to the Xbox 360 because the original Xbox needs certain ports, as consoles did back in the day. But the 360, you can't get an Xbox 360 controller and plug it into the Xbox One because it doesn't work. So them going, hey, here's an Xbox One controller that is now compatible with Xbox 2. It's kind of weird, because what do you call it then? Well, it's an Xbox controller, but there's multiple different Xbox controllers. It just doesn't make any sense. You can't call it the Xbox Series X controller. Like, what? Like, are they going to take away the series and call it the Xbox X? Why? Why? What is the next one going to be? The Xbox Y? Xbox Z? Or Z? They could go through letters. They go through the like Xbox Alpha, Xbox Beta. Although that'd annoy a lot of people because a lot of people say beta and a lot of people say beta. But like just do that. Just do something. Don't call it the Xbox Series X. But anyway, back to the thing. So it looks quite huge. It looks quite big. Now, obviously, there's a lot of reasons why it's like this, and I've seen sort of a lot of people kind of give it a thing. It could be quieter. It could be not boiling. It doesn't overheat constantly. It doesn't break because of that. And, you know, to fit in possibly what I'm thinking, we'll get to a rumour later on once we've gone through both of the consoles, is, you know, being able to fit, you know, like an original Xbox and Xbox 360 and Xbox One sort of architecture into the thing so it can still do the new stuff as, you know, in 4K and HDR and everything, in 8K and whatever in the future. But obviously, you know, can still do older console stuff. I just hope that you can use Xbox 360 controllers on it. That's really my own only opinion. Now the PlayStation 5, we don't know what the PlayStation 5 looks like. We've seen the sort of quote-unquote dev kit, but honestly, even if the console looked like that, but it was built that way to be quieter, doesn't overheat as much, you know, I would say colder, but that doesn't really make any sense. But like that kind of thing, then I would be 100% fine with that. You know, I'd be 100% fine with, you know, it looking like that if they had to make it look like that. But a lot of the time, you know, to fit everything in and sort of make it kind of like, oh, we could, you know, is basically just go, hey, we've got a square, we've got a rectangle. That's been like, I mean, look at the Okay, the PS4 is a slanted thing, but if you look at the PS3, the PS2, the PS1, they've been relatively blocks of rectangles and squares, kind of thing. There may have been some smoothness and whatever, but it's still been that, really. Yeah, so the PS5 does look ridiculous. But I assume what's going to be, it's probably going to be a similar looking thing to the Xbox 2. So purely because of, again, what I'll get into later, if it's got to have, you know, previous sort of console architecture in the structure of the console. And then the name, the PlayStation 5, it's simple. Once you've got like a naming system and it makes sense, then like just keep going with it. Because most consoles have either described what they are, or describe like what they are, or describe what they do. Most of the time, like what the Nintendo 64, it's got 64 bits. All right, cool. The PlayStation, it's, you know, I'm gonna try. The Xbox, it was an X. It's a box shaped like an X. It's simple. It's simple. The GameCube. Although the Wii, you got me on that one, to be honest. And then the Wii U. Like, I guess sort of like the sort of enjoyment kind of aspect. Like, you know, children sort of like you go down the slide, you go Wii kind of thing. Maybe. And also the Wii would like to play thing. You know. Yeah, no, the Xbox 360, I got no fucking idea. But yeah, so let's go through sort of the previous rumour that I'm not sure if it's still true or if it's still being reported on in that kind of way. But the Xbox 2 is more powerful than PlayStation 5. On what knowledge? On what knowledge? On what basis? Because we don't know what in the PlayStation 5. We don't know what in the Xbox 2. We don't know kind of like what they do. We don't know, because the PS4 versus the Xbox One, they're basically the same thing, except one slightly focused on button lag, and the other one focused on a bit more like graphical, kind of like there was less pop-in kind of thing, and they looked a bit more vibrant kind of thing. I believe that was it. One was better on kind of like bringing up the graphics on the screen rather than it popping in, and the other one was more of like playing. I don't know which way around it is. I'd have to Google it. But yeah, so that was the kind of thing, and obviously basing that off like nothing that we know. It could be like, oh, the Xbox 2 is more powerful because it can do 8K from the start, whereas the PS5 can't. But it's like, no one has 8K TVs. People only barely have maybe like HDR or a 4K TV at most right now. I don't think there's anything that, like, there's stuff that can do 8K. There's like graphics processors and stuff like that in computers. But I'm not sure if there's it may be really expensive TVs and monitors and stuff like that that can do 8K. But 8K isn't a thing people are looking at right now. People want to sort of like put it in now, so then when that kind of technology comes along with monitors and TVs, then they can sort of like go, look, we're already ready for that. Okay. Thank you for getting banned. Sorry, someone's posting spam in the yeah, someone posted spam in the chat. Brilliant, 10 out of 10. Um sorry for that. Um oh, I can't. Why is this still nothing? Oh, yeah. So sort of it being more powerful is just like, what in what way? In what way is it more powerful? But they can't say, because no one was saying anything about like kind of what's in the console or anything like that. So we don't know any of that information. But the other rumor that I want to get to, actually no, I'll get to that after this, because I want to talk about sort of like the pricing, because what's really screwed up both Sony and Microsoft in the past is the pricing of their console. The PS3 screwed up because that was really expensive, and kind of people were like, why is that so much more expensive than a 360? And everyone bought 360s. And it turns out that I think it had an entire PS2 shoved in to a PS3, which is why the original ones can play PS2 and PS1 games, whereas the sort of more recent ones, sort of the ones following that, were only do PS1 stuff. Whereas the PS4 can't do fucking anything. Shit, where was I? Oh yeah, the Xbox One. And the Xbox One's problem was that it kind of mandatory came with a Kinect, where the PlayStation 4, while it did have an option that you could get a PlayStation camera with it to use PlayStation Move and then sort of later on PSVR, it wasn't, you didn't have to buy it with the console. You could buy it in bundles, but it wasn't sort of like a main thing. You had the two different variations. You had the 500 GB and the 1 TB. I want to say it was either 1 TB or it was 2 TB. I can't remember which one they went up with. But I think it's 2 TB now that you get like the consoles with. But yeah, so the problem, and also the entire problem with the Xbox One, was that it was marketed way too much towards casual people, which is where sort of the tagline "for the players" for the PlayStation 4 kind of came along. That's why the PlayStation 4 is as highly selling as what it is. And it just proves how sort of like popular the PlayStation has been its entire life, to still be going, considering what they passed 500 million PlayStations, from PS1 to PS4 sold, what I want to say last year, 2 years ago, something like that, where they released like the 500 million limited edition PS4 console, which I did want to buy, But I was like, no, I don't need another PS4. It looks cool, but I don't need another PS4. My PS4's fine. Although now I really wish I did, because my PS4, as you hear on many videos, it sounds like it's taking off constantly. It's like a kettle, so I'm constantly just boiling some water. Um, anyway, yeah, and what the PS2 is like almost at 500 million sold, which is a bit weird how you can calculate that, but or something like that. It's definitely past like 400 million. But anyway, yeah, and obviously, like, considering Microsoft is still. See, what happened was sort of the Xbox One was terrible out of the gates, which gave the PS4 a lot of sales. But then, kind of later on, kind of when people kind of got into it and everything, you realize that the backwards compatibility with the Xbox One is a lot better than no backwards compatibility with the PS4. But obviously, then the exclusives for the PS4 is a lot bigger than the Xbox One. Um, you know, and kind of just stuff like that. And I don't know if I could compare the PS4 Slim versus sort of the Xbox One S. Apparently, I haven't seen. I've genuinely not like seen an original Xbox One. That sounds weird. Like the Xbox One itself, because when they like shrank it for the Xbox One S, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's like this much smaller," and I'm like, "That's a huge reduction." But I don't think it was that huge. Sort of comparing it, I think it's just like a little bit. It was a little bit smaller. Anyway, yeah. So like the pricing of pricing of sort of the bundles and everything that comes with the next consoles, they're gonna have to really sort of like know what they're doing. Like, because I don't like. I've said this before. The the PS5 could definitely be bundled with PSVR 2.0. I don't know if PSVR 2.0. Like, I know there's been like a thing in the headsets, but I'm like what's the word? Like they've redesigned the headsets. They redesigned the PSVR headsets. Um, and obviously the great thing about PSVR is that if you do have a PlayStation camera from the PS3, because I believe it's the same camera, it's a similar camera. And if you had the PlayStation Move controllers from the PS3, that still works with the PSVR, which is a good thing. The Yeah, so them having a bundle with the PSVR 2.0 or with the PSVR for the PlayStation 5, that I'm not sure if they do it like like the PlayStation camera was with the PS4, where it'd be separately bundled. I hope so, obviously, but that would, because the PSVR is, from what I know, is really good actually. It's annoying that it's only on, obviously it's sort of like the PlayStation kind of thing is kind of annoying, but like how it is, and if you wear glasses as well, I've heard from people, and I've asked people, what's the best sort of VR headset to do with glasses, and it's like, oh, the PSVR, or sorry, the VR headsets is good with glasses, and they go, oh yeah, the PSVR is really good, sort of accommodating people who wear glasses, because that's always one problem with me in VR. So I'm like, well, I have to take my glasses off. But if they start sort of, implementing either like prescription things that you put in to the headset, hopefully not costing anymore, not adding an additional cost, or obviously, using your glasses. Um, yeah, and obviously, we don't know what, because obviously, what is it? Does Microsoft have Oculus? I think Microsoft might have Oculus, but obviously that's mainly for the PC thing as well. Um, that they kind of just went, okay, we want this kind of headset VR kind of thing for, like, that's what we want. Because, HTC Vive and the HTC thing where it's like, oh, you can now do the entire room, you've now got like joystick kind of handle things. and it's like proper tracking. It's like wireless ones and stuff. It's a bit weird because it's like PSVR is like for the kind of the more casual VR audiences, but it's also kind of a bit more high tech and a bit more kind of know-how, that, or like, you know, you'd need a bit more accessories and kind of stuff, or you would use a bit more accessories compared to the Oculus Rift, which the Oculus Rift was just a headset you put on. You know, you still use the controller, you still use the keyboard and mouse kind of thing. But will Xbox have that kind of thing? I don't know. Will they have the Kinect? The Kinect 3.0? Probably not, because literally no one remembers what Kinect 2.0 was. Literally, it's just like, what's... It's like the Kinect... It's like, I still... Well, there's when we got one, the newer Xboxes. The sort of touch one. I can't remember exactly what its designation was, but 360 of that came with the Kinect, the first iteration that came with the Kinect. Like, I look at that and I go, oh yeah, the Kinect. And I go, yeah, it's pretty much useless. It was pretty much terrible. I mean, it was alright. But yeah, so that would be a problem with either. If either decided to go, oh yeah, our main bundle comes with a PSVR, or if it comes with a Kinect again, or something. Hopefully not. Hopefully both sort of sides have learned their lesson to kind of just be like, right, we'll give you the console, we'll give you a controller, or two controllers, and a game, and that'll be it. Guess quickly talk about the controllers, I guess. Hopefully, with sort of the rumour I'm going to get to, and I keep saying I'm getting to in a minute. Backwards compatibility. That's the rumour. If you just want to keep, for that, skip ahead to that a bit. But yeah, the controller for the PS5 been kind of shown, kind of rumoured, maybe specs. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's taken out the light bar at the back and it's taken away the touchpad. I think they've put two buttons, or a button for the touchpad, but obviously you won't have sort of like the movement on the touchpad and kind of that kind of thing. So I don't know whether PS4 controllers would be compatible with the PS5 for those specific PS4 games, which there's quite a few that use the touchpad, and that you would lose a lot, or pretty much all of the game, by not having the touchpad. Like, I think Killzone Shadowfall has a little sort of like button or like flicky things with the touchpad. And I know Tearaway Unfolded pretty much uses the touchpad a lot. So taking away the touchpad is kind of a bit of a problem. But yeah, but the thing with the Xbox 2 is that the Xbox One controller is compatible with the Xbox Series X console, which is a bit like, okay, and it kind of makes sense why they're doing it this way. I guess rather than bringing out a brand new controller for the console, they're basically just probably going to be bundling the basic Xbox One controller with it, is because of them making the Xbox Elite controller and then the Xbox Elite controller 2.0, which I still think the Xbox Elite controller is a bit of a pay to win, because it's basically a scuff controller and it costs like twice as much as a normal controller. Yeah, like if the Xbox One controller gets a revamp for the Xbox Series X console, and is basically an Xbox 360 controller instead. Yeah, that'd be alright, I guess, because we know that the PlayStation 5 is going to have the exact same thing as a PS4, PS3, PS2, PS1 controller. Obviously, maybe slightly chunkier to hold in your hands. So it actually, like, for certain people, it feels like It's not like a tiny thing. It's not too big. It's not too small. Kind of to fit everyone's hands. And I hope they keep the triggers, because I know for the PS3 controller, the triggers weren't as what they are now. Then I think there was like a revision for the Xbox, for the PS3 controller, to make it to have like protruding triggers. And even then, its main triggers was like the bumpers of the controller. So I hope they keep the kind of thing of the PS4. What else? What else needs to be? Yeah, because the again, I just hope that the there's not too much of a problem using previous controllers. Was it? I'm trying to think if there anything was before I get to backwards compatibility. I don't think there was, because I mean, here's the backwards compatibility bit. Is that the rumor is that both consoles will have backwards compatibility with every previous generation of its console. So the PS5 will be backwards compatible with the PS4, PS3, PS2, and PS1. And the Xbox Series X is going to be backwards compatible with the Xbox One, Xbox 360, and original Xbox. Here's the thing. With the Xbox, they kind of already do that with the Xbox One. However, there's a lot of games that need to be sort of quote-unquote approved and kind of need to be actually done before they can be backwards compatible with the Xbox One currently. Whereas the PS4, they basically just went, okay, here's a couple of... I mean, they've been remaking a lot of PS1 classics, so that's good. And a lot for PS3 was like remasters, or like, you know, next-gen sort of remasters, which happened for a lot of games anyway. I'm thinking of like Last of Us, Uncharted, you know, that. I mean, they're PlayStation exclusives, but you get the idea with like Xbox stuff as well. Yeah, or they renamed it They renamed it like Special Edition, or they gave you like all the DLC for some things, from sort of the previous console kind of thing, which sucked that you had to buy the game again. But you know, with obviously like PS4, it's like yeah, they had to do it that way, because otherwise it would have been, you know, because how Microsoft, from sort of what I know, is that Microsoft have been working on the backwards compatibility thing, which is basically an emulation of the original Xbox 360 into the Xbox One now. And that's kind of how they did it they started working on that when they started working on the Xbox 360. To be like, hey, it's backwards compatible with the original Xbox. So they started emulations kind of thing from that kind of that time, and obviously now it's only been sort of perfected to be like, hey, there's a bunch of Xbox 360 games and a bunch of original Xbox games on the Xbox One. My hoping is that the reason the Xbox Series X is so huge is because they've got the architecture from the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, and the Xbox One into that console as well, so that then if you have the disc or if you have it digitally, you can play it on that console no matter what. Because there was one game that I tried, or one or two games that I tried on the 360, which weren't backwards compatible. Because I thought that, oh, they say it's backwards compatible, we'll just try everything, because I'm stupid. Back in 2006, whenever I got the console. 2006, 2007? About that. Yeah, so the that kind of thing, and I was like, oh, they not have backwards compatibility for every single game then? And obviously I had like a couple of favourite games that are kind of like everyone's got this. Everyone's got like favourite games that no one's ever heard of, that are not backwards compatible with, like, you know, the sort of next-gen console. It's not being talked about as much. It's being sort of like, you know, people go like, oh, I've never heard of that game before. And then you go, oh, but this game's awesome. That kind of thing. So, when they say it's both consoles are going to be backwards compatible, I hope it's fully backwards compatible. I mean, for the PlayStation, it'd be really hard to get the PS3 in there, just because of the PS3 being a complete mess. I mean, to try and record through the PS3 with capture cards and whatever, and capture devices, you have to sort of bypass like its whole deal. Whereas the PS4, the only thing you need to do is you need to go, well, because of a lot of the sort of things that the PS4 comes with, like its sharing and its live streaming feature already. I believe same with the Xbox One. I don't think the Xbox One has the thing I'm about to say, but the HDCP, which I'm not sure exactly what it stands for. I assume the CP stands for like copyright protection. Um, but essentially, if you turn that on, if you have that on, you can watch YouTube, you can watch Netflix, you can watch, Twitch, that kind of thing. But if you turn it off, you can't watch those things. You can't go on Spotify or anything like that. But obviously, that means that the Elgato and stuff like that can, sort of record and pass through to the PC and sort of start recording from it. It's what I do, which is annoying because I watch YouTube on it. So obviously, like when I'm like right, I'm watching a video and it's like, oh, I've got like half an hour till a stream starts. I don't need to start connecting all my wires and stuff. But I'm like, oh no, because if I start connecting all the wires, I have to stop watching YouTube, and that's a bit annoying. There's a bit of faff for me. But anyway, yeah. So the PS4 and the PS3, had sort of like the copyright protection sort of thing. That's like up to date, annoyingly. Whereas the PS1 and the PS2, I assume, they haven't tried to do those recording yet. I assume they could just go straight through sort of like recording devices and whatnot. You know. So I hope that the PS5 basically does have a PS3 and a PS4 in it. So then you can play. It'd have to have a PS4, PS3, and a PS2 in it. Like this is the thing I'm caring more about. I'm caring more about backwards compatibility than I am new game console or anything like that. The reason that I'm caring more is because I've got so many games on the PS4 that I haven't finished. And if a new console comes out and I'm still on the PS4 and I'm still playing stuff on the Xbox 360, as you guys know. I still love a lot of games on 360, so I have it and I still play it, sort of occasionally. And obviously, the PS4 is sort of like my main system at the moment. But sort of the backwards compatibility would really, like, from both sides, would really make a lot of difference in sort of my choice. But if both are doing the same thing, I'd literally be forced to buy both at that point. Well, not forced, obviously, but like wanting to buy both. Because if I could buy an Xbox and play Xbox One games I never got the chance to play, or that I got, like Forza Horizon 4, and I don't play anymore because, sort of the Xbox One kind of thing, or, Xbox 360 games that I never got around to playing, or that I'm still playing, and then original Xbox games that I really want to go back to, and then sort of the same with the PS4 where I could get, where essentially I could basically just go, right, this PS2 doesn't need to be sort of here, it can be yeeted out of existence kind of thing, and I can move my, I can take out my PS4 and put the PS5 there, and like that, it's more, it's kind of convenient, but it's also like, that kind of backwards compatibility is more of what we want now, because a lot of people have bought stuff digitally. From the PS3 and the Xbox 360 era, it's been a lot of digital sort of buying, and the Wii as well. You've been buying your digital games now. You've been more inclined to sort of buy digital games. I've been buying a lot of digital games. Hell, the only physical copies of PS4 games that I can see right now is Fallout 4, Doom, Yooka-Laylee, Crash, Insane Trilogy, Far Cry 5, and Call of Duty World War 2. Like, having just those, like, 6 games, obviously, there's other games in my house, but in terms of sort of games I own, I only own those ones physically. Yeah, I've got Killing Floor 2 is digital. I own Resident Evil 2 digital. I own the Dead Rising and that kind of thing. The Bioshock collection digitally. Um, you know, I bought the only other things that I've bought sort of physically. I've Black Ops 3 digitally. You know, I've like it's all kind of digital things. That's kind of just what I own. So I wasn't like kind of into digital kind of things apart from sort of the arcade, the Xbox Live arcade kind of stuff, and I guess there's some stuff that I call the PlayStation Arcade as well, or sort of like the marketplace kind of thing. But that's kind of what we want more of. We want the ability to play games because in that launch window, in that launch year, there's not going to be that many games that you're really going to be playing a lot of to warrant sort of buying the console immediately and, playing a lot of. It's the same thing with the Switch. I mean, my problem with the Switch is that there's still a lot of shit, a lot of games, basically, that I'd love to play on it, but are way too expensive. Like, what? I was looking at Skyrim for the Switch because I was like, oh, I've been watching a lot of Outside Xbox and Outside Extras, Oxventure, the D&D stuff, and I was kind of like, what games really like kind of like D&D is like Skyrim, Skyrim and kind of Fallout, and I kind of like, I'm not really into like Fallout 4. I prefer, sort of, like the older Fallouts kind of seem, well, Fallout 3 and New Vegas seem a bit more appealing than Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is kind of just meh. But it's like also Skyrim, and I was like, how much is Skyrim on the Switch? And it's like £45 in like the digital marketplace, and I'm like, what? I look at how much it was physically, and it's like £45. I'm like, what the hell? I look, and then I go into like a shop that has a physical copy of Skyrim for the 360, and it's like, hey, this is £1, and I'm like, what the fuck? You're saying I could buy Skyrim for £1 on a 360 on the console it came out on, or a console 8 years later or something? Like I have to pay £45. What? That's my problem with the Switch. Like I get that Nintendo wouldn't do backwards compatibility in the way that other consoles could, just because of the amount of different types of format or different formats that each Nintendo console has had. None of them are backwards compatible with each other. The only thing that was the Wii to the GameCube. The Wii U is kind of classed as that mid kind of console between the Wii and the Switch, really. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's like you can't put an N64 cartridge in a disc-based console, and then it's like the GameCube discs were small, so you can't put them in. Yet for some reason you couldn't do them in the Wii U or do them in like the current Wii's that you can buy brand new. Just stupid. And then obviously the Switch, you have to just use cartridges. Little tiny like little SD card things. And it's the same thing with like the DS as well. Like the original DS, the fat DS, the PHAT DS as some people refer to it. Like that had a Game Boy Advance slot. What happened to that? I believe it was on the DS Lite, the next incarnation of the DS, but it wasn't after that. The DSi, the 3DS, anything like that, it just doesn't have it anymore. So, but yeah, that's kind of the thing. Hopefully that rumor is true. Hopefully the PlayStation 5 can play PlayStation 1, PS2, PS3, PS4 games on it. And hopefully the Xbox One can do the same thing. I wouldn't mind if they went, oh look, not every game is on it immediately. Like let's say the PS5 can only do PS1 and PS4 game backwards compatibility fully from launch. Because the PS2, obviously for the PS3, they need to fit an entire PS2 into the PS3, so you can play PS2 games on it. And the obviously PS3 is such a complicated sort of internals and how the games worked and everything with it. Um, so hopefully that even with that, because I probably won't buy the console immediately. I won't buy the console immediately when it comes out. I'll wait, until the white version comes out, because that's just what I do. I just buy like the white or silver versions of it, apparently, or whatever the secondary color that comes out for it. But yeah. So if anyone's got more kind of things they want to talk about with the Xbox One or the entire Xbox kind of thing, but mainly the Xbox Series X or the Xbox One or the PS5 and the PS4, put them down in the comments. I don't know if I'll be doing another one of these sort of on sort of the Monday stream, but yeah, I'll be doing these a bit more, just because there are certain topics that we can talk about sort of in gaming, and I like getting your interactions in the chat on Twitch. So follow me there, twitch.tv/StealthyWolfXLI. Subscribe and like the video on YouTube. Let me read this out. https bit.ly/2 capital A 91 capital B lowercase w a capital E. Or just follow me on Twitter for any kind of updates for anything at StealthyWolfXLI. And yeah, hopefully we can do this again sometime with another sort of edition of. Am I really going to call this StealthyWolfXLI Presents? Name might change. But thank you all for watching. Peace out.